Okay, GearTalks. Today I have this really old Yamaha, and that's the guitar produced from 1972 till 1973. But is this piece actually vintage? Hello everybody, my name is Jerry and today welcome to another and not another, the first episode of the series the Gear Talks. In this series we will be talking about amps, guitars and technique for musicians. And like I said, I have this Yamaha FG 440 with me and it's a really interesting piece. But like I said, it was produced in early 70s, so you could hear that sound. It's not bad, I think. And let's talk about some main specs. Okay, so this guitar is made of kind of fine materials, I think. We have a solid spruce top, sides and back are made from jacaranda, and jacaranda is the general name for some woods, rosewood woods mainly. We have an Indian rosewood in that group, African rosewood, for example, I don't know, Brazilian rosewood as well. That looks more like an African rosewood, so the jacaranda is the general name for all these kinds. I grasp that way, like I said. But if you're more renowned in that topic, write me in a comment what's actually this wood. But it looks like a solid, but I'm not sure for 100% because Yamaha made in early 70s mainly laminated sides and back, but it looks like a solid. But I don't want to get off the lacquer and get into that guitar. Another interesting thing is about the neck. Neck is really specific. It's made of African mahogany and it's really thin. It has 43 millimeters, the width of the nut, and the profile is more vintage. It's not for modern players, really great for strumming chords, but I don't recommend it for modern fingerstyle. It's mainly for the, I think, chords, some kind of arpeggios. It's really thin, so the hammer-on and pull-offs are not easy for us to play. And the profile of neck is really interesting. We have the V-shaped neck, but the width of the neck from the fretboard to the edge is kind of thin as well. I have my Furch Green series. It's a Grand Auditorium, really modern type of acoustic guitar, and the neck is more wider, more chunky, I would say. So that's interesting as well. The fretboard is made from ebony and bridge as well from ebony. What's really nice are these inlays from Peril. And the headstock, we have a Yamaha Japan tuners here, so the classic old style Yamaha headstock. And on the fretboard we have a nice symbols of 4-leaf clover. But how it sounds, I recorded some samples so you can hear and you can make your own decision on the sound. Okay, so same materials. So can you actually reach the top level of Martin D42, really famous dreadnought by Martin, or is just a cheap imitation? Martin D42 is the really classic guitar. If you know something about Martin, Martin is the big company in the USA and they produce a lot of guitars. They started first with acoustic guitars. They made dreadnoughts. They make, yeah, nowadays still make dreadnoughts, OMs, triple OMs, lots of types. And like I said, this particular model has the same specification, same woods. So could be that guitar, the vintage, can it reach the top level of Martin D42? Okay, first thing first, what's actually the vintage guitar? Vintage guitar is the guitar which is old. Yeah, that's the term of the vintage. But we guitar players always mean that the guitar should have some price and some value with the term vintage. So has this guitar some price? I'm not pretty sure, because when I look into the hole, I see made in Taiwan, Republic of China, is the little tiny text under the Yamaha logo and the type FG 440. If you know something about the Yamaha, Yamaha is the great company in Japan and they make lots of things from motorbikes to music things like synthesizers, guitars. They have really a famous line of electric guitars. Rev Star, if you know Chris Buck, Chris plays on the guitars. Really great instruments for affordable price. But with their acoustic guitar models, they have really cheap guitars to something really expensive. So they produce loads of things. And most of the models are made in Japan, especially the most expensive one. And this model, like the high spec dreadnought, or Yamaha call it original jumbo, but it's pretty much dreadnought. There's something a little bit weird. Made in Taiwan, the former Republic of China, we see that the most produced guitars were located in Japan, especially expensive one, like I said. So this particular model is the cheapest variation of the original FG 440, and these models were duplicated. Yeah, they wanted lower price, and that's the reason why this line of FG were located also in Taiwan. So this model is pretty much, I think it's not the vintage guitar, but it's old, that's the one thing, but it hasn't any value. It's the guitar you can buy pretty low, I think. Okay, so how we can find out if the guitar is made in Japan or made in Taiwan or in China? One thing is the label inside, and we can see there's this guitar has the rounded wide label with the text made in Taiwan, and the original FG series has the yellow square label with a little bit different font of the text. That's another thing, the type of the text, and they have made in Japan the text under the type. Okay, so duplicated model, but we have the same materials. I can grasp that. So it is same good as the Martin, or what's the problem with that? Maybe here comes one really important question, and that's the grade of the wood, its quality. And there are lots of type of woods, and you can find spruce like a spruce. We have lots of subspecies, alpine spruce, Sitka spruce, and so on. So it really depends on the species. And the second thing is the grade of the woods. So we have the AAA grade of woods, That's the best type of the wood, and I will be really surprised if the duplicated model from Taiwan will have the same quality of the wood like the original Japanese model, or the Martin, like I said. So maybe here's the problem. Okay, so that's one thing, the specs, but what's the sound, how it sounds? And you can make your own decision on the sound from the samples like I played before. But in my opinion, this dreadnought is really based on high frequencies, really harsh and sparkly top end of the sound. And I always thought that most dreadnoughts are based on the bass frequencies, they're more boomy. And I owned a Grand Auditorium by Furch, and that's guitar composed from mahogany, back and size, cedar top, and the specification is more based on that low frequencies, more gold top end, I would say. So this guitar is more sparkly and chimey. Sometimes it's a little bit harsh, like I said. So it depends what you play. I think for fingerstyle or for single melody is not the best thing. But even if it's not the vintage and more the most valuable guitar, it should work well for you. In the mix, it cuts well, I think, and I haven't the opportunity to compare this guitar with the famous Martin D42 or with the original Yamaha. I think even if it's not the most valuable guitar, it could work well for you. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for this video. I hope you like this content, and if you have some more knowledge about Yamaha guitars and the wood, you can write me in a comment. I would like to hear your opinion about this guitar. My name is Jerry, and remember that guitar is a great instrument. God bless ya.